We're looking for someone to man the fort temporarily until we find a permanent replacement for Sam.
Oh, okay, right.
Of which, if you don't mind me saying, Greg, you will also be in the running for long term, of course.
Just to say it out loud, no caretaker manager has ever gone on to actually be the manager, have they?
Well, you never know, you might...
Yeah. Well, I would obviously only be able to manage the team in the way I'd want to do it, even on a temporary basis, and to work on the things I think urgently need to be done.
Of course. And what do you think needs to be done?
I think there's something really wrong here. Something has gone wrong in England.
And that is a clip from Dear England. I'm delighted to say that its writer, James Graham, one of the most esteemed writers in the country, I think it's fair enough to say, joins us. All right, James, how are you?
Good, Simon. How are you doing?
Well, I think looking at you and looking at me, we're both perspiring somewhat heavily.
Yes.
Given that we're talking during a heat wave. But so thank you. And you're sitting under glass by the look of it.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. It's given me a youthful glow, or maybe it's bringing out every single line in my face. I've got no idea. But yes, we are where we are. Okay. English summer.
Well, we'll just give it a few minutes. Okay, so Dear England is on the television. All the episodes will be on iPlayer. I guess most people really know where we are with this, but assuming someone is coming to this completely blank, they've got no idea what we're talking about. Where does this TV drama take us?
So it's the 4 tournaments basically under Gareth Southgate when he took over the England team back in 2016. And to me, I feel like I'm slightly biased in this, having invested a lot of time in this story and in being in Gareth Southgate's head. I think it's one of the most remarkable examples of redemption and resilience in our public life that I can think of in a decade. Essentially, it's one of the few examples where somebody took something that was not working. In this case, the men's England football team. Took it when we're at an historic low. We got used to being kicked out of tournaments in very early stages. And then suddenly this guy comes along who was basically remembered for this one tragic event 20 years ago when he missed a penalty. Comes back as the manager. And not only does he transform the team tactically, he transforms the team culturally as well. That was his big thing, the culture. How do I change the culture and the environment and the mindset and the psychology and the relationships of England men's football team? So that's it. It's like a classic sporting underdog story where someone comes in, transforms something and hopefully takes them to success. I won't spoil the ending for you if you don't know it.
Well, that's the trouble, is we know most of the endings, even though we've forgotten the agony. You bring it back to us, like in every episode. So the play was fantastically well received, won an Olivier. Adapting it to the TV required what? Are you good at adapting your own material, and what did you add or subtract from this?
I actually do find it really hard to adapt, particularly from stage to screen. It's for some reason, had I been commissioned, I think, to write an original screenplay, TV or film about the Gareth Southgate Shakespearean arc, I would have found that infinitely easier. There is something weirdly difficult, even though, like you say, it happened on stage. So you've got a lot of the dialogue, you've got the characterizations, you've got the world, you've got the research, you've got the information, and yet somehow I do actually find it really, really hard to unpick what you've made in one particular grammar, one particular language, in this case, theatre, and how you restructure, reshape, redefine that on screen. You sort of have to perform a factory reboot on your brain. You have to unlearn all the things that you've learned in terms of structure and style and form, and begin again. You have to ask the question: if I was starting this on screen, what would it be? What would the structure be? What would the shape be? Obviously, theatre is a very abstract, expressionistic form. TV is more naturalistic, more literal. But it gives you loads of strengths as well. It can be more intimate. You can get inside the characters' heads more. You can reduce the amount of speaking and trust your actors to tell a story with an eye flicker or a look of the things like that. So I do find it hard, but I'll leave it to you and the viewers to see if it feels like hopefully its own piece of screen work rather than a play on telly.
There's some words that appear before each episode, James. Dialogue. Yeah. The dialogue has been imagined by the author.
Yes.
And I was interested in that because we obviously know that because you are the writer. And it was a line that I kind of wished always appeared before every episode of The Crown, which people took as gospel, that we now know what the Queen said to Harold Wilson, which of course we don't.
Yes.
Was that your suggestion that you put it in? Because obviously you have created these conversations.
I'll be honest, it's not. And I do find, I know people's opinion on those cards are quite split. I agree with you. I think they can be incredibly useful when you're dealing, and actually a sort of a moral responsibility when you're dealing with real life people and real life events. You just have to constantly remind the audience that to a greater or lesser extent, this is art, and we're not shying away from that. I'm not apologising for that. I would have invented certain things and changed certain things so that it works as a piece of drama. Sometimes I find them really patronising. Like an audience is really sophisticated. They do know. I think they know what the contract is when they're watching a piece of real life. You reference The Crown, and you're right. I think they can be important. Equally, an audience does know that Peter Morgan wasn't in that meeting between Harold Wilson and the Queen. They know that, and that he is, to a greater or lesser extent, having to, using the best research possible, imagine what those conversations might be. I wasn't in the dressing room when England played Slovakia in the Euro 24. So, and an audience knows that, but I think in an age of alternative truths and post-truth facts and things, it's always just good to. I enjoy those cards when they have a bit more wit. I think if I'd go back again, I might put a bit more mischief into them. There's the famous one at the beginning of the film Veep. I can't remember quite what the card says, but it gives a knowing wink to the audience that it was more playful than that.